A warm welcome to all of you, my dear sisters and brothers, and my dear friends. Maybe a couple of days ago we started. I don't know how many days that are in between now, but I think that doesn't matter. Find your place of rest in Jesus. Today I'm going to talk about rest in the wounds of Jesus. This is Reverend Yeti. To find your permanent place of rest in Jesus, you must always know Him as the one who was crucified for you, and the one with whom you have been crucified. Consider the following verses. I have been crucified with Christ. It is no longer I who live, but Christ lives in me. Galatians chapter 2, verse 20. We have been united together in the likeness of His death. Romans 6, verse 5. Your place of rest is in Christ, the crucified one. You have been united with Him. That means you share His death with Him. You have a share in His death and in everything it means. Release from the power of sin, a complete break with the ways of the world, and the end of your old self. This truth will energize and renew you every day. It will provide a steady flow of new life that fuels your spiritual growth. The verse you will listen first, Romans 6, verse 5, tells you that you have been united with Christ in the likeness of His death. This language calls to mind the image of a branch grafted onto a tree. We have already considered the idea of grafting, but let's look at another aspect of it. There is a lesson for us in how this grafting comes to pass. Before such grafting can happen, and wounds must be made in the tree, its inner life must be laid bare. The new branch must then remain fixed in the place of that wound. If it does so, it will share in the life of the tree and become part of that same tree. So it is with you. The cross is that place where Christ was wounded and laid bare. In His wounds, you have a permanent place of rest, a constant source of life. Fix yourself firmly into the wounds of Jesus, and you will always be at rest. Does it mean that life always be smooth? No, that's the wrong understanding of rest in Jesus. When a branch is grafted into a tree, that branch is also wounded. There can be no other way. It must be removed from its original place, and that requires wounding. Your place is in Christ now, Formerly, you identified yourself according to your place in this old world. Now you have been uprooted from that place. To put it more accurately, you have died to this world and to your comfortable place in it. That involves pain and suffering. There can be no other way. But now all the suffering you experience is shared with Jesus. He is your new home. In the world, your sufferings were yours alone. In Christ, they are experienced in fellowship with Him. This fellowship brings you ever closer to Him and to the life that He shares with you. To abide in the sufferings of Christ is to adopt the same attitude that He had toward those sufferings. It is to follow Him in His reverence for the will of God. His determination to obey, and His confidence in the final outcome. You were destined to die. We are all destined to die. It is the curse of sin over humanity. Jesus took our humanity and met us there in the place of the curse. And at the cross, He took the curse upon Himself and turned that place of the curse into a place of blessing. Christ was troubled so that you could be at rest. The marks of His tribulation have become signs to guide you to your true home. Rest in the wounds of Jesus. To reach you, Jesus had to go to the cross. If you want to be found in Him and to rest in Him, you cannot avoid the cross. You cannot forget it or neglect it. Find your place of rest at the cross. The cross of Christ has marked you as His. You see something in it that the world cannot see. It has said something to you that the world cannot say. You have heard and believed. Now rest. Being marked by the cross means suffering and self-denial. These things takes nothing away from your rest in Jesus. On the contrary, they are an integral part of that rest. We will have more to say about this later, but today simply remember that His suffering has provided a refuge for you in this world. His wounds have become your place of rest. Rest in the wounds of Jesus. Let Jesus embrace you. Let Jesus become your rest. God's blessings. wish you all a nice day. Bye.